everybody to an exclusive episode of The Sheriff. Guys, today I am blessed with my second current NHL player to be joining our show. And it's not just any player, guys. This is a gentleman that I witnessed grow up a little bit. I've had dear friends of mine coach this kid. He's the most coachable kid they've ever had. And now he's a grown man, an NHL star. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, Owen Tippett, how are you doing tonight, my
I'm
friend?
good. I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Awesome, buddy. Well, thank you for being on. Owen, we've wanted to get you on for a really long time, dude, but I know the schedule that you guys have in the show now. And even though you get to go to like some really nice hotels and stuff like that, it's still a really, really busy schedule, right? So I definitely appreciate you coming on, dude. And dude, what a time it's been for you the last couple of years. And like I'm so excited to talk about everything that's going on now, Owen. But like I was mentioning before the show, dude, we only have guys on here that are huge characters and that have really, really strong stories, dude. And I think your story is one of the most interesting ones I've ever heard. You're one of the most nicest and most humble kids that I've ever met, man. You know what I mean? And I
I
need my
appreciate
listeners.
that.
No problem, bro. And I need my listeners to know how this all came possible. And I like to kind of go to the beginning. And I know you're a Peterborough boy. I know
Yep.
you were born in Peterborough. Um, I would love if we could talk about Peterborough a little bit, what it was like growing up there and starting to play hockey in Peterborough.
Yeah. No. Right from when I was younger. I mean, obviously, it's become to known kind of a hockey town and a hockey city more and more now. But yeah, right from when I was younger, it was hockey all the way through for me. I played lacrosse in the summers, but I think I always knew deep down that it was going to be hockey.
Now, you're right. Peterborough, huge, huge, huge hockey town. I remember going to tournaments in Peterborough as a kid, Owen, and I remember just how competitive actually the Peterborough teams were in my age group. And I know they only got stronger and stronger, as the ages developed. What age did you start in Peterborough, though? Like, were you a guy that started right away, or were you a little bit of a late bloomer?
No, I think I started right away. Like I was on skates, 3, 4 years old, maybe even earlier than that. But
Yeah.
and then right from the beginning, I was playing for the Petes, and obviously right after that was Timbits and whatnot. But no, I played Peterborough right from the start.
So now the Pete's, is that like the team to be on if you're a local kid in Peterborough? Like, is that the team?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, obviously that was the AAA
Yeah.
organization there, and then with AA and single A, there's different names for it. But yeah, like I said, I was a Pete right from the start, and it just kind of that's where it all started.
Yeah. They were pretty close to us in our age group. How were you guys in your age group? Like, were you guys really, really strong, like with the team that you grew up with?
Yeah, there was a couple of years where I think right when OMHA started, and that was a big tournament that everyone wanted to be in, and I think we actually won it 2 years in a row, and then came third the next year. So I think there was a good stretch of 3 or 4 years where we had a pretty solid team.
Right on. Now, this is kind of like where I'm the most interested in, Owen, because I know what it's like to be a kid playing travel hockey at that age. The pressures, bro, of friends and peers and school and girls and everything, right? Like
Yeah.
it was incredible what we had to go through. Now, I grew up in a single parent family. Okay.
Mhm.
My mom got remarried when I was 14 years old. So for the majority of my childhood, it was just my mom and the four kids. And, there's me and my three siblings. Now,
Yeah.
I know you have a really strong connection with your mom and that it was of a similar situation. Um, did you realize when you were really young how much your mom was involved? Or because I didn't really realize it when I was young. It was when I got older that I really was like, wow, like I can't believe how much they actually did for us.
Yeah, I think. I mean, like you're saying, it's kind of similar in the sense where, we're both really close to our moms and our siblings. And I think I did realize pretty quickly. I mean, it was obviously when I was 11, I moved away with my mom to Toronto to kind of take a different career path. But I think it was right from then, kind of our relationship became even closer because we were always together. We were always driving to the rinks together. We spent every night together. And I think you realize, like you said, maybe not right away, but when you sit back and realize how much they've actually done for you with, time travel in the car and, money spent and everything that pretty much gets you to where you are today. So, like I said, it probably wasn't right away, but within the first couple of years, I for sure realized, how much she probably took off or parted off and spent time with me and got me where I am today.
Now, I'm glad that you brought up the point of the move to Toronto, because that's a really big it was a really big deal in your career, because I think that's what had to happen, Owen, in order for it to go the way it went for you, right? Which was very successful.
Yeah.
Now, just so the listeners can understand, what were the rules at that time for the GTHL? You had to have an address within the area of the Greater Toronto, right, to play in
Yeah.
the league?
Yeah. So for the GTHL, you obviously had to have, residency in, like you're saying, the GTA. So when I was in Peterborough, obviously the whole thing started when I have a cousin a couple years older who plays on Detroit now. And he did the same thing a few years earlier than me. He moved down to Toronto, went to school down there, played in the GTHL. So when I saw that path, that was kind of the first glimpse I got. So when we first started, the whole process was we were like, okay, and we're going to live in Peterborough still, but try and play down there. So how that works is you have to get releases all the way through the OMHA on the way to Toronto, pretty much. So that's a release from Peterborough, Lindsay, Whitby, Oshawa, like all the way through.
Okay, so every geographical area that you could possibly play on the way to Toronto.
Yeah. So the 1 year, it's a whole process. Like the 1 year I got released from Peterborough, I applied for it, and then Lindsay was the next stop. They denied me, and then I got it all the way through. So how it usually works is if you get denied by a team, you have to play for them. But I didn't want to be playing in Lindsay in the same league as what I already was. The whole point was to be going to a different league and play in Toronto. So that year I got held back. I had to play. I think I dropped down to AA for a year because by the time it was already made, the decision for me, the AAA team was already made. So and then I played AA for a year, and then the following year you have to start the process over again. So I started again. I got my release from Toronto again, and then Lindsay, same thing. Like they held me back, and then I got it again through every other team on the way to Toronto. So then I was sitting back and I was like, okay, well, what's the next possible step? Which is when, my mom, like we sat down and, my mom sacrificed her shorter commute to work to make it longer so we could live. So we ended up finding a place in Toronto. So that way we had residency there. I could go to school there. And then that's when I started to play in the GTHL.
So was that the move to Kiel and Shepherd, that place there?
Yep.
Right on. So now your mom obviously I've done a little research through Sully, right? So
yeah.
Now she was working was it in Curtis at that time?
Yeah, because she's like a social worker in the school board. So, the Kawartha Region School Board only goes as far as Oshawa or Curtis.
Yes.
So, even her, when we were in Peterborough, her school was 5-10 minutes away from the house.
Yes.
Where now she had to even apply to get into the school in Curtis just because that was the closest point to Toronto. So, and then her commute went 45 to an hour, sometimes even more in rush hour. So, there's a lot sacrificed. Yeah. So.
Yeah, man. So, okay. So now this is when you were 11 years old though, right, Owen?
Yep.
Now, obviously we're older now, so we can be brutally honest about when we were younger. At that age, were you really that good at 11? or what was this like a risk that you guys were taking? Like, were you that good yet already? Do you think, like, were you developed into that type of prospect, or was it just like raw talent at that point?
I honestly think, like, obviously I can say now that maybe the talent wasn't there, but it was still a risk. You can ask Sully, like the first couple of years in Toronto, I didn't know if hockey was going to be my future. I didn't know the role I was going to play on those teams, but I just saw, like I said, my cousin go through it a couple of years prior, like before me, and it was something I wanted to do. I wanted to take that next step and try and develop my game, and so it was definitely a risk, but like you were saying, I think the talent was always there, but anytime you make a move like that, you never really know how it's going to end up.
Exactly. That's very true. Now we're talking about Mitchell Stevens. That's who we're referring to, right?
Yep.
Okay, yeah, man. No, so you guys, that's your first cousin.
Yep. It's my first
And,
cousin.
and he's got a couple of rings now, or what?
Yeah, he was with Tampa for 2 rings, and then he got traded to Detroit this past summer.
This past summer, yeah, because I actually, to be honest with you, I thought he was on Tampa. So he got
Yeah.
traded to Detroit just before the season started.
Yep.
Right on, man. How is it? How have you talked to him? Like,
Yeah, I talked to him. I mean, we saw each other a couple times in the summer, and went
yeah,
golfing and stuff. But I think I think he was excited and ready for a fresh start. And
yeah.
anytime you get a new chance, it's a new beginning. Just like for myself going to Toronto, it's that new start, that fresh start that can break or make your career take off. So no, he's loving it so far, I think.
So now, and the reason why I was asking that, Owen, is just because obviously Tampa Bay is kind of known to be like a dynasty right now. Their salary, like there's the joke about the over the cap and all that kind of
Yeah.
stuff, right? And then Detroit is in a completely different part of the process, right? Like
Yep.
obviously they're gonna get back to glory, but they're in the beginning of their, well, not beginning, but they're in their regroup phase, right? And Tampa's in their going all in phase. So I just wondered, like, for him, that is a start that he's going to have more opportunity than he'll ever imagine. But that kind of reminds me of, like you said, the risks that you were taking in Toronto. Now, there's a couple little stories that I want to bring up, Owen, right?
Yeah.
Because I hear these things, and it's so cool to hear. The first off, though, I want to tell you is I have a theme for today's show. Okay, so the theme for our show today is resiliency, talent, and drive. And I'm gonna explain. That's gonna come up a couple times in the episode. Okay, so now I want to know exactly if you remember the year that this may have been. Now, I'm pretty good buddies with two of your former coaches. And I heard a story that when you first started playing for the Red Wings, that it wasn't forward that you stuck with right away. You bounced back a little bit from forward to defense. Now, the story that I was told is that there was a game where you gave the puck away and there was a goal scored against your team. And as a penalty by the coach, you were sent to defense. Now, you were so determined to prove yourself and to get back to the position that you really wanted to play
Mm.
that you went end to end as a defenseman, scored a goal,
Yeah.
okay, and you got the call right back to forward. So now I know what it's like, dude, to be in that type of situation in AAA. All the kids are so competitive, Owen. Like, now that we think about it, can you believe how competitive some of like the eras were that we played in coming up? Like,
Yeah.
not every kid's built for that type of stuff.
No, it's crazy. It's funny you say that. Like my first year, it was with, I think it was Junior Canadians, I think my first year. And it was when Sully and Jonesy first came in, and that's when I first met them. It was halfway through the year. And even the first half of the year, I was bouncing back and forth. I would sit in the middle of the bench and I'd go, okay, one shift on D, one shift on forward. And then as Sully and Jonesy came in, they kind of took me under their wing and started working with me here. And then I think it was the next year, Sully got a head coaching job or another assistant. And I went with him just because I respected what he did for me and how much he helped me. And then that was kind of the year where he's like, okay, what do you want to play, forward or D? And I said to him, I said forward, because I was a D all the way along. And then when I first came down, they tried to transition me into forward. But it's crazy. I mean, for me to go through that, like at 11 or 12 years old, you don't really realize how much goes into it until you're in a situation like that.
Yeah, man. So, but it was a pretty good decision though, Owen, to go up front,
Yeah,
right?
it was. I mean, that was the first time I had a taste of playing forward, and I think I just kind of fell in love with it. How involved in the game you are, and it's just something that you don't realize. Even guys now, I mean, they D-man jump in the rush, and they get a sense of confidence almost, and good things happen. So no, it's good, and for me to go through that at such a young age, I think it helped my future for sure.
Yeah, definitely helped your future, buddy, because there was a really big event that happened with someone being a fourth overall pick, man. Right? Fourth overall, right? So now I've talked to a couple people about like that time, that era of that draft. And like I think what was it? Sudbury that had an earlier pick. I don't know if they were first overall or whatever it was, but it was thought that you may go to Sudbury, and but the situation in Mississauga was just such a more ideal and more realistic way to success. Was that kind of the scenario?
Yeah, like you're saying, I think it was Sudbury first, Windsor second, Flint was they're having their first year in the league, so they were third, and then it was
Okay.
Mississauga. So I think I actually got hurt the same year, like in my draft year. I had hurt my knee or whatever it was, and I think that might have hurt whatever it was, and how people think going into the draft. But I was so fortunate to end up in Mississauga. It was so close to home, and with my billet situation there and the opportunities I got there, I wouldn't regret it or look back on it for a second.
So now, and thanks for sharing that, Owen. The year that you got drafted to the OHL, was that the year that you had the 52 goals in the 50 games for the Red Wings?
I think it was, yeah, my last
Okay.
year of minor
All
midget. Yeah.
right. So let's talk about this year a little bit. Let's back up a little bit, dude, because I'm a stat guy. I love
Yeah.
stats, right? So it's not very often that, and again, Owen, like the fact that most of my guests are like usually older than me, right? So they usually don't even have stats from even like part of their major junior careers because it's so far back, right?
Yeah.
But I'm able to get Toronto Red Wings GTHL stats. And I'm looking this up 2014, 2015, 50 games, 52 goals, 87 points, okay, in 52 in 50 games. All right.
Mhm.
So almost 90 points in 50 games. So like that year must have been phenomenal for you. Like the confidence building, even just like people guys wanting to play with you because you're just sniping every game, man. Like what was that like? Like did it feel like stardom at like the from that year?
I think that was the first year where I kind of realized, okay, there's a possibility this could be a career, and this is what I want to do as a career, sort of thing. Like I think that was the first year that it kind of clicked in. But like you said perfectly, it was just this was I had a year and a half of fully playing forward
Mhm.
prior to this, and it was fully, I think, just a confidence thing. I was confident in my game and finally being comfortable at the forward position, and we had such a good group. I mean, I don't think you can ask Sully. I don't think we had the best team, but we had good character guys that we went in and had fun. Whether it was we were winning or losing, it was having fun, and it's a cliche, but that's why we play hockey is it's fun, right?
Yeah. Now it's it's great that we brought Sully back up again because I want to ask you about this fourth overall draft party
Yeah,
that took place at Boston Pizza beside the famous Chesswood Arena, and like that's so fitting, right?
yeah,
Being a Toronto Red Wing. to have your party by Chesswood, man. Like when I think of Chesswood, I think of the Red Wings. The Red Wings were the best team in my age group. Don Mills was second, which was me,
Yeah,
right? So, man, Chesswood and the Red Wings, man, in the dictionary, they should be together, man.
I agree. I mean, I think it all just worked out that, I was, like you said, we were living at Keel and Shepherd. I was going to school in Downsview Park, and then Chesswood Arena was right there. So just
Yeah.
going back to my mom commuting, there was some days where she'd get caught in caught in traffic, and I would have to either, catch a ride or a bus or whatever it was to practice. And, to have that draft party at the Boston Pizza around the corner, it just kind of brought back all the memories of what you've been going through the last 4 or 5 years building up to that. So it was pretty cool.
Yeah, man. And so, like, how many years had the Steelheads been the Steelheads when you got drafted there? Because, like, I played for the Mississauga Ice Dogs, dude, back in the day.
Yeah. No, I'm not sure because it was I can't remember how long it would have been, but it was Steelheads for at least I want to say 4 or 5 years before I was there.
Yeah,
So
because the Ice Dogs moved to Niagara, right? And then it was the team from Toronto that moved to Mississauga, right?
yeah, I think it was St. Mike's that moved
St.
to
Mike's, yeah, Toronto
Mississauga. Yeah,
St. Michael's Majors, yeah, man.
yeah,
That's cool. That's cool. So, dude, so yeah, so the Boston Pizza Party had to bring that up. Had to give a shout out to the Chesswood Arena too, right, brother?
yeah,
Like I remember the first time that I met Ty Domi was in the Chesswood Arena. All the arcades were there. I don't know
yeah.
if they still have it like that. Is there still a lot of arcades in Chesswood?
I haven't been back in a while, but
It's been a while, eh?
yeah, like they have the new Scotia Bank, and I've skated there a couple times, but I haven't been back to Chesswood in a while.
Right on. Yeah, man, that's a good it's a good reminiscing about that for sure, buddy. So now your first year in Mississauga was a solid year, right? But your draft year, Owen, that was quite the year, my friend. That season, I kind of want to go through specifically because, in my opinion, man, that set the tone for the rest of your career, buddy. Like, and like, you must remember that year pretty clearly.
Yeah,
Almost had a goal per game that year too, man. You put up 44 that year, right? And I also know that with that team, wasn't there a situation in your age group where it was like an Eric Lindros type thing where wasn't there a guy that was he drafted to Flint and then he like refused to go and then got traded to Mississauga, right?
yeah. So
Who was that?
that was the same draft year as me. So it was Ryan McLeod. He went third to Flint, then I went fourth to Mississauga, and he didn't want to go, and his brother was already on Mississauga. So you have to end up making a trade and whatnot. So we ended up getting him from Flint. So they ended up with the third and fourth overall picks that year. But yeah, no, it was the second year is when kind of we both kind of got like going back. We just got our confidence and got more comfortable playing at that level. And I mean, any kid can attest, but your rookie year in the OHL, you might not get the minutes you want or put up the numbers you want, but it's another chance to learn. So going into that second year, there was kind of that second adjustment stage or whatever you want to call it. But we had a really good team that year, and that's when kind of I built some more confidence onto my game.
Were you guys favored like in the beginning of the season? I want to talk about the playoff run that year because I know it was a really good one. But were
Yeah.
you guys like expected to be good from the beginning?
No, so we it was actually funny. I think before Christmas, we were like going into the Christmas break, we were dead last in the league. And then we came back and we had a players only meeting, I think it was, and we just kind of sat down with each other and said the typical look to the guy beside you like you don't know when you're going to play with them again, or the overagers at the time, you want to give them the best chance to move on in their careers after the game. And I think it just clicked, and after Christmas I think we only lost 6 games. And I think in those 6 games, we had at least gotten to overtime in 3 of them. Like it was just, we had gone on a crazy run. But I think at the start of the year, we weren't expected to go very far.
Dude, that's insane. I didn't know you guys had a slow start like that.
Yeah.
I was gonna mention that. Now it's funny that you said right around Christmas time, because December 4th, you had a really good game, man. You had a 4-point game, set a career high, right? And you lit
Yeah.
it up that game, and then you guys ended up winning the Central Division that year,
Yep.
right? So
Yep.
so you guys were last place at
Yeah.
Christmas time.
Yeah, we were almost dead last, if like we were dead last, if not very close to it, going into the Christmas
Wow.
break, and then we ended up winning the Eastern Conference and losing in the finals to Erie.
Yeah, no, yes. So now you guys played 20 games so that was the finals against the Erie Otters that you guys lost that
Yeah.
season.
Yeah.
Okay, right on. Now, what was the ratings for you throughout that season for Central Scouting for the draft?
Yeah. I've honestly never really been a guy to look into stuff like that. I've just kind of, I let pressure handle itself. I don't really look to those things to make up how I'm going to play a certain period or certain shift or certain game. So I honestly couldn't tell you how they went up and down throughout the year or what they
But
were.
were you were a top rated player in the beginning of that season, right? Like you were
I think
highly
so.
scouted.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, dude. So that was quite the year. And then so now leading up to the draft, Owen, um, I know that that year was the first year that they had kind of like the NFL style draft.
Yeah. The
Like
green
like
room.
Sully was telling me about it, man. He told me that that experience was the best experience he's ever had in anything to do with hockey. It was so cool the way that all went down. Did you have the same feelings towards that setup?
Yeah.
Like
It
how
was really.
cool was that?
It was really cool. I mean, obviously, it wasn't the traditional you walk down, hand your jacket off, and go up on stage. But I think it was cool just, how they experimented with that. Everyone's sitting in the back room, and then you come out from behind the stage. Like, it was really cool. And I think it honestly worked out because I got to have, more people that were close to me and helped me along the way. And it was honestly really cool. I mean, obviously, experience like that, you're never going to forget. But I think I was a part of the only draft that wasn't the traditional walking out of the stand, so it was pretty cool.
Yeah, man. So now this draft was in Chicago,
Yep.
right? Now what did you think, man? Did you think Florida going like when you woke up that morning, were you thinking Florida or did you have no idea?
I had no idea. So at I think it was the NHL Combine in Buffalo.
Yep.
I think I had met with like 26 teams, um, and I think Florida was one of them, but it wasn't anything like it wasn't a crazy interview that I can remember. And then the morning of the draft, I had another meeting with them, and it was with everyone in their organization, and they had kind of said if our player A isn't there and the position that we're looking for isn't there, then you're our guy. So honestly, I had no idea, and then I had once that player got chosen a few picks before me, I had that thought in my mind, but then again, you never really know. Like things can change so fast. So
And wasn't there something with the Rangers that popped up right before you got picked where you thought it might be New York?
I don't think so. I mean, obviously they have like the projections
The
on what it
projections. Okay.
is and the list that people are holding where it has 1 through
Yeah.
10 or whatever it was. So I think I might have seen something through that, but like I said, I don't really look into stuff like that because you don't want to be disappointed when things change. So
Yeah, man. I hear you, man.
I had no expectations going in.
So, okay, so tell me exactly what happened when you found out that you're drafted 10th overall to the Florida Panthers.
I mean, it's all the cliche answers you can probably think of. I mean, it was
No,
my
but
dream.
like, okay, no, but literally what happened? Because that was a different
Oh
type
yeah,
of
yeah,
draft, like we're explaining, right?
yeah.
So, like, how
So
did they do it when they announced it?
it was still they announced it still on stage, and then you can obviously hear it, but then they have the stream on the TVs in the green room. They called it.
The
So
green room.
there's circle tables with I think it was 10 or 12 of us that we sat back there together with all of our families, and whenever you were picked, you just kind of stood up, gave everyone hugs, and then, left your jacket there. And then they had like this big hat frame with each cubby had a team's hat. So then whatever team you got picked by, you had to kind of go up, take the hat out of the cubby, put it on, and then you walked out on the stage. It was pretty cool.
How proud were you, man, at that time? Were you floating on air or what, man?
Yeah, it was awesome. I mean, obviously everything's going through your head at once. You don't really know what to feel. And I think at the moment you're just trying to not embarrass yourself and fall up the stairs. But no, it was good. It was good. It was awesome.
The best thing that I could explain it, dude, because I mean, you're Owen, I couldn't even imagine what that stage is like, bro. But like anything similar that I've experienced on a different level, all I could say is you're trying to just be normal, right?
Yeah.
You're trying to be as normal as possible. You just want to be normal. Like this is your life right now, and you're trying to be as normal as possible. Like that's you know what I mean? So that is how it is for you too, right?
Yeah, that's how I look at, each and every day. I'm just a normal kid doing what he loves to do. And it's always been that way. I haven't, even when I was younger, I didn't say, oh, I want to play hockey because of the money or the lifestyle that comes with it. Like I just enjoyed playing it, and I still do. So I think, it's part of who I am, and I don't think of myself as any better than the guy next to me just because I'm playing hockey professionally or anything like that. It's just what I love to do, and I'm happy I can make a career out of it.
Right on, bro. And that's a beautiful thing. Now, you know what I just realized, Owen, is we went by the Peterborough time without talking about your grandparents.
Yeah. Yeah, no,
right?
they were.
Now, were they in Peterborough when you were in Peterborough, or were they close by? Because I know that they're a big influence in your life as well.
Yeah, no, they were right in Peterborough as well. So they were right there every step of the way as well, taking me to rinks and coming to every game they could. And I mean, obviously they have 6 grandkids on my side of the family. So it's, every time they go to anyone's sporting event, it's always a scramble, and they try and split it up individually and make sure they're sharing the love, I guess, on how many times they go to so and so's sporting events to the next person. But no, they were a huge part and big supporters of all of us, and obviously wouldn't be here again. Like I said, wouldn't be here again where I am without them. So
yeah, because I know you're such a super family guy, Owen. So you know what I mean? So
yeah.
So grandma and grandpa had to be brought up in this episode, buddy. You know what I'm saying?
No,
So okay, so now this is what I'm also kind of curious about too, buddy. Now playing for teams your whole life, that team camaraderie is very important.
Yeah.
Now, when you're young, especially when you're a top pick, right? When you're the first rounder, there's a lot of banter. There's a lot of heckling and stuff. But guys only make fun of you if they like you, right?
Yeah.
So now the legend, Roberto Luongo. Now, I heard a story when you first got drafted. Now, dude, I mean, I may not look it, but I mean, I'm half Irish, right?
Yeah.
So I have a lot of, carrot top cousins and stuff. And, my cousin Thomas, that's a year younger than me. I'm very close with the guy. Almost looks exactly like you, right?
Yeah.
And so I also know that my cousins, they don't tan the best. You know what I mean? They got to use the sunscreen, right?
Yeah.
That's how it is when you're from Ireland and stuff. And it's cool, you just got to do it. And I heard that Luongo was right on you, bro, right away after you got drafted, made a comment that you're going to get a sun tanning deal as well. Lotion. Did you remember that? Or is that like so much is going on? Maybe you don't even remember that.
Yeah, I think so much goes on in the moment, but I think I do recall seeing a tweet or whatever it was. But it's like, you never would have guessed a redheaded kid like me playing hockey in South Florida. I mean, everyone's going to their beach on their days off, and I'm trying to stay away from the sun, sort of thing. But
but all jokes aside, I think you tan pretty good, man. It's only certain people that get burnt all the time.
I get my base layer, and then I just go from there.
Yeah. There you go, buddy. So, dude, okay, so now here's another thing that I always like to ask guys is their first training camp with the big club, right? So you're drafted, man. You're going to camp. Now you're the first rounder, Owen. When I went to my camps in Buffalo, buddy, I was the 8th round pick. There was
Yeah.
no pressure on me, man.
Yeah.
Right? What was that like being the first rounder? Did you feel pressure like everyone's looking at you that you have to do well? Like,
Yeah, I think there is that pressure of being a first rounder, and the biggest tip I got going into camp was nobody looks at you as a first rounder or not. Everyone's there for the same reason, and they all want to make the team. So
yeah,
just because you're drafted in the first round, yes, you have more eyes on you, but it doesn't give you any better chance than the guy next to you to make the team. So I mean, obviously, it's nerve-wracking thing. You go into camp as an 18-year-old kid, and you're going into corners with guys that are 10 years older than you, even more so. It is nerve-wracking, and there is pressure on you, but I mean, I think you just kind of each day you kind of get more and more comfortable, and you grip the stick a little less. So
have you had a chance to spend any time with Smoking Joe?
yeah, so he's
Gordon?
we just throughout the dressing room and everything, but no, Jumbo's been great. I mean, he's everything you hear about him is accurate. He's never having a bad day. He's always bringing energy to the locker room, and he's just a great guy to be around.
And how old is he now, Owen? Is he like
Um,
42?
I think he's 42. Yeah,
Yeah, man.
yeah,
Wow, that's incredible, bud. Like I'm gonna be 40 in January, man.
yeah,
Right? So
yeah.
Smoking Joe, man, I can't believe the shape that he must be in, man. That's
Yeah.
incredible. Now, dude, the preseason this year, you're on fire, eh? And like you're playing really well, Owen. And like I'm really excited for you, dude, because like I remember being your age, right? And like I remember seeing the guys that I got really close with, and the characteristics that certain guys had is what made their careers go longer than the other players. And this is what I want to tell you, dude, as a guy that's observing. You're one of the most professional people that I know right now, bro. And how old are you, Owen? You're what, 20 what?
22.
You're 22 years old right now.
Yeah.
Buddy, do not change what you're doing. You know who you remind me of off the ice is my buddy Chris Thorburn. I don't know if you know Thorbs.
No.
Now, my buddy Chris Thorburn, he's a 1983 birthday. Played with him 3 years in Rochester. This guy's the all-time games played for the Atlanta Thrashers Winnipeg Jets franchise. Okay, he
Yeah.
was like a grinder, third, fourth liner, but he kept signing, Owen. He kept signing contract after contract. This guy didn't even have skill like you, but you know what he did have? Everybody liked him. Everybody wanted him on the teams. He
Hmm.
was nice. He was humble. He was a very good team guy, and he would do whatever it takes for the team, right?
Yeah.
That's everything that you are, but you're also a natural goal scorer, bud, right? And
Appreciate
if
that. Yeah.
you get the games that Chris got, like I don't even know how many games, bro, 1,200. I don't
Yeah.
even know what it is, but whatever it is, man, the sky's the limit. And I just like, and I know a lot of people say this to you, Owen, right? But like I'm telling you, but just don't change who you are.
Mhm.
Just stay exactly who you are right now, and you're just gonna. Buddy, I can't even imagine how incredible it's gonna be. Now, what I wanted to also ask you is, currently in Florida, are you what your contract right now? Do you have 1 year left? An option? Like what's the situation for the future moving forward right now?
Yeah. So this is my last year of my entry level that I signed right after I was drafted.
Okay.
So after this year, I become a restricted free agent.
Okay. So is it still the group two screw? Do you know what I mean by that? Where it's just like
No.
10% increase and you don't really or have they maybe they've changed that. That's the way it used to be when I
Yeah.
was.
Yeah. I don't think I don't know how it works. I think it's just, you see all over the league that, guys are signing for different amount of years for different amount of money and then
Yeah.
whatever it is. So I think it's just, how the team is against the cap and also about, how you've been playing. So
Exactly. And you gotta earn anything that a player gets, he earns, and it's all the hard work, blood, sweat, and tears, this, that, the other, right? So now,
Yep.
a little bit of an exciting topic now, Owen. I'm trying to get into the media, right? So I'm talking to all these people, and this is what the word is getting out right now, bud. That the Stanley Cup is gonna stay in the state of Florida, but that people don't think it's Tampa.
Nope.
Right? You guys, man. Like, how do you feel about your team? Like, are you? How's the optimism in the room? Like, is there a lot of excitement with the mix of young and old? And
Yeah, I think the excitement's there. You see it right from day one of training camp. You see guys on the ice pushing the one next to you, and I think there's definitely players hear the buzz going around, but we're not. That's not what we're thinking. We're just trying to go out every game and get better, and play for the guy next to us.
yeah. Now, what do you guys have coming up? What's the next games coming up for you guys?
We have Colorado tomorrow night, and then I think we go to Philly on Friday for a game on Saturday, and then we're home for a couple games.
Nice, buddy. And then, do you have a roommate, or are you living on your own, man?
I'm just on my own now. I mean, my girlfriend's here with me, but she's still back and forth because she's still in school and in Guelph. But it's just me. There's other guys in the building I'm in, and guys, a couple minute walk away, but it's just me here.
Now, what's the deal with Yandel, man? Like with this Iron Man stuff.
Yeah,
Like, is he?
that's another guy. He's just a pro all the way around. I mean, he takes care of his body the way you need to. He's there's a reason why he's played almost 1,000 games in a row. He's taking care of his body. He's doing whatever he needs to be doing to be healthy the next night. So and not only that is he has that lighter side to him. I'm sure everyone's seen it where he's you know laying jokes on the guys and having a good time and whatnot. But he helped me a lot when I was younger, and he's just one of the greater guys I've played with, I'd say.
Now, on I wanted to talk about like October 17th, against the Philly Flyers, like that first game in the NHL, man. Like, I just I love hearing like guys' thoughts on it. Like, if there was anything unique about that day. Like, what was that for you, man? Like what was the, like, not like the cliche answers, but like I know it was against the Philadelphia Flyers. Like, is there anything special about that game that you remember?
I think it was the day before. I think we might have been in Pittsburgh or something, and we were flying to Philly. And on your way onto the plane, you go right by coaches, management, and stuff, and they kind of gave me the heads up and said, get whoever you can, family and whatever. Like you're going to be playing tomorrow. So I think from that moment on, it was a bit of a scramble, just trying to let everyone know and get. My mom was able to make it, my sister, and everyone was able to make it when they could. And I think it was more of a scramble until you're done morning skate and you're kind of in that routine and you go back to the hotel, pregame nap, meal, whatever it is, and then once you're on the ice, it's just hockey. I mean, obviously it's your first game, but you want to kind of get into the game early and settle in as soon as you can, just so it takes the nerves out of it for sure.
Now, and thanks for sharing that, dude. That's awesome. Now, in Florida, though, the sport of hockey seems like it's been growing a lot. I have buddies that are now coaches in Florida, and there's a lot of competition, man, with the minor hockey and the coaching and the hockey schools and all that type of stuff. Do you guys feel that it's not like, when Carolina Hurricanes, they won the Stanley Cup back in, I had Mike Commodore on my show last week, and we're talking about the Stanley Cup, and he was saying that, he would walk and like people had no idea who he was or even who the Canes were.
Yeah.
And they won the cup. Are you feeling that the Panthers are getting really popular now in South Florida?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think it's the same way. I mean, it's kind of nice. You can kind of leave the rink and not many people recognize you and are stopping you on the side of the road. But I think, I think as players, we're starting to feel the buzz where, there's more people there for warm-ups. There's more people there for our games. Fans are more into the game. And, it's almost like a rivalry too. I mean, Florida's a big travel city, and you see a lot of fans from the opposing teams, but it seemed lately that, our fans here have been our backbone, and they kind of want to be louder than the people coming in to cheer for the opposing team. So it's been cool to see, but you can definitely see even my years of being here. It's only been, I think this is my 4th year in the organization, 5th year, but even from when I first started to now, you can see a big increase in the fan base for sure.
Right on, dude. And then the only other thing I wanted to ask you was, I remember the Florida Panthers Stanley Cup run that they had. I don't know, I think it was 1995, right? And they made it all the way to the finals. Scott Mellenby, I remember he was the top gun on the team. And there was the Rats. There was the Rats movement. Is that like a normal thing, or was that only like those years? Like, are they still doing that, Owen? Like, where are those Rats at, man?
Yeah, I think you can purchase them, in the team shop or
really.
But every time we win or whatever hat tricks are scored, there's Rats all over the ice. So
so they're still throwing Rats every game.
Yeah.
So it's a total Florida Panthers hockey culture thing.
Yeah.
Dude, that's pretty cool, though.
Yeah.
Tampa Bay doesn't have that.
No,
they don't. But
no, it is cool. I mean, it throws that extra twist, and guys have fun with it after, whether they're shooting them down the ice into the net or shooting them at each other's legs or whatever it is. It's still going on.
And what about? Is there a mascot that's a rat, or like where do you know where that came from?
I don't know how it started. I mean, I think over the years there is a second mascot that's a rat, but I don't know. I haven't seen him at every game, I don't think, but I don't know exactly how it started, but I think it's still around.
That's cool, dude. Yeah, man. So like, I mean, South Florida, a kid from Peterborough, flourished in the GTHL, star in the OHL, and now doing his thing in the NHL. Is there like, do you and the reason why I'm asking you this, Owen, I know that you're really young, but you honestly will give an honest answer. For the kids that are trying to decide if they want to play in the OHL or not, for a guy that was through it as an underager, a guy that you probably had every option, dude. You know what I mean? What would you give the kids today? Like, what advice would you give to them for that?
For me, it's when I was growing up, I had always said to myself, where if I had the opportunity to play at the junior level, obviously it's a faster route to pro. I was going to see that through, but there's nothing wrong with taking the extra years to develop and then going to school. So I would just say, I would, listen to the ones around you and the advice you're getting on, what's best for you. And if you think you want to try and play OHL, then go play OHL. But there's no comparison for OHL or university and college. It's if you feel like you need or you want to take the extra years and go to school, then that's the choice for you. But I mean, just the way my career kind of worked out and the way it came about, OHL was the path that I took. But there was no, I had both options open going into that last year. So I kind of kept everything open, and then when it was time to make a decision, I did.
Yeah, and I know that the OHL does have some pretty solid school packages right now because they have to compete, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, man. No, and thanks for sharing that. Now, dude, obviously, like we were talking in the beginning, with the type of fan base that I have for my show, there's a lot of appreciation for the physical side of the game. Mm-hmm. Now, I remember getting a call on, it was like a few weeks ago, and the call was about a scrap in preseason, and it was, did you see Owen's fight? Now, was that your first NHL fight, my friend?
Yeah.
Yeah, man. So let's hear about it, man. How was it for you? How are the hands? How are the knuckles? What was the buildup for that? Was it just from that scrum, or was it something earlier? I know Corey Perry. I know how he can be on the ice. I wanted to kill him sometimes, even though he was on my team.
Yeah, no, it was just one of those things where I wasn't looking for it or anything, but I think Vasilevsky came out to play the puck and our guy went through him, whatever. So, obviously guys are going right over to him, and I turned around, there was 3 or 4 guys on Bennett. So I went over just to try and get guys off of him. And, I grabbed Perry, and before I think he even turned around and realized who it was, not that it even matters, but his gloves were off. And I said, okay, I guess if there's any time, it's going to be now.
So were you surprised at that moment though, or were you just expecting that it might be any of them now that this scrum is ensuing?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, like anyone would, and it has been this way for a while, you're going to protect your goalie, right? I mean, so I think going into that situation, I knew it was a possibility, and maybe not. Did I not think it was going to happen how it did? But I mean, it ended up happening, and first one's out of the way.
Yeah, dude. It was awesome though. How is the hand?
It's fine. I mean, I don't think there was any landed on either side, but
a couple shots fired. It was a spirited bout. That's what they say in those cases, Owen. And it's not even about a fight being entertaining. It's just the emotion of the game, and it's guys. If they're not sending a message, they're protecting a teammate, or they're trying to set the tone. But whatever it is, it's for the team, right? Yeah. So it's awesome that you're showing that part of the game, dude. Because, dude, you got everything covered now, man. That you get your nose dirty, bro. That's awesome. Now, you guys have a pretty young group in Florida, though, right? Like it's a nice young group. What's the social life like with the girlfriends and wives and stuff? Like, are you guys all doing like a social thing, or is it still pretty early in the season and that hasn't really been, the tone hasn't been set yet for that?
I think it's still pretty early. I mean, obviously the guys have their social aspect and the girls have theirs, but I think, it's even last year with middle of COVID and stuff, we would try and get together as much as we could. And I would imagine it'll be the same this year. I mean, obviously, you see all over social medias, there's the Halloween parties and New Year's parties and whatever it is. So, the social aspect's been good. I mean, I think it is important. It's a reason for everyone to get together, even though you spend time. It's good to kind of see everyone outside of that rink atmosphere.
Yeah, buddy, for 100%, dude. Oh, and it's been an honor having you on, dude, because it's really, really cool to get the insight of someone that's actually going through the journey currently right now. And I'm telling you right now, bro, like when anyone looks back at their hockey journey or life journey in general, there's always kind of things that you could be like, oh man, I wish I did this differently, that differently. But Owen, honestly, man, you've been on the narrow path, bud, and it's awesome. And I wanna congratulate you, but I know that you're just being you, dude. So that's why I was just saying, just don't change. Just keep doing what you're doing, bro. I'm so proud to say that I know you. I know that all my buddies that have coached you, man, they absolutely love you, and the look that they have in their eyes when they talk about you, bud, it's so wonderful. So like you touch a lot of people's lives, Owen, and because you're so positive and creative, people just benefit from knowing you, man. And so I wanted to thank you for coming on. I know the listeners, obviously, they got a big treat today, hearing all these stories and stuff, buddy. Some great insight. And like I said, I know I usually say thank you about 20 times to my guests right at the end, but I just want to say thanks again, bro.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it.
All right. Did you have some fun, buddy? Reminiscent?
Yeah. A lot of fun.
Awesome, buddy. So I want to thank the listeners for tuning in to another episode of The Sheriff, featuring special guest Owen Tippett of the Florida Panthers. And I wish you the best of luck for the rest of the season. And I'm going to sign off now, guys.